All right, guys, I'm just going to really quickly explain the changes that are coming up starting on Monday. Technically, it's Friday, but really, it's going to be Monday, May 4th. All your teachers are going to have different requirements about that second thing here, which is live streaming. We'll talk about that in a second. Really, we're going to just overview this to make it clear cut, simple, and really, this is all decent and good news for you. It's nothing to make you feel stressed out. It's actually going to help a lot of you out. So let's go forward and let's talk about this real quick. You may have gotten an email home. I'm not sure. I'm sure you will within the next couple of days if you haven't. But the fourth quarter grading policy is going to change. So whatever grading policy we've had in class for the year is out the window for this quarter only. It's not for the year. Okay, so that's one of the most important things that you need to understand is that this is the fourth quarter only. They're calling it the no harm policy. So right off the bat, no student will receive less than 65 for the quarter, meaning you can literally do nothing at all, not hand in one piece of assignment, piece of work, or an assignment, or a test, or anything like that, and you'll still get a 65. The rest of the 35, because 65 plus 35 is 100, so the rest of the 35% will be broken down into ways. 18% will be based on your class participation, and I'm going to show you a rubric within the next couple of slides on how that's broken down. That's really up to me to give you those points. Of course, I'll be fair, but I also will not be gifting you anything in that department. The other one is basically performance based, and that's 17% on Google Classroom and your assignments. For me, I can determine, what I want. I can make, that 17% count for, whatever. So I decided to put more weight on the actual assignments themselves rather than the tests and the quizzes themselves. Let's face it, you guys are doing very well in the tests, very well in the quizzes. It does take work. You are looking up answers, you are putting work into that, but the more work you put into it, you can find the answers. I know you can. You can find them online. You can research them. Anybody who's been not doing so well on a test, it's you're probably just not looking hard enough to find those answers. So definitely the individual classroom assignments count more. So breaking that down for you, here it is: 65 baseline. Nobody gets lower than a 65. For those of you who have been not doing your work all year or not been handing in your assignments, getting 55s every quarter, which isn't many of you, but there's a few. A 65 is not going to pass you for the year. So you need to make sure you're really on top of what you need to do because a 65 is not going to cut it. Again, this is for the fourth quarter only. All right, but the good news is if there's any quarter to do really well, it's this quarter. I mean, nobody should really be getting under a 90, in my opinion. It's that structured for, is that it's that well structured for you to do well. So really take advantage of this. These are unforeseen circumstances. These are unprecedented times. Right now, the student is not being penalized. The student is being thought about in many aspects. So, kill it this quarter. Do as well as you can. What else are you gonna do? There's really you can't be going and hanging out with friends or going to concerts, doing anything. You might as well take pride in your work. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of slides. But 65 baseline, 18 for the participation, 10 for the Google Classroom assignments, and 7 for the Google Classroom tests and quizzes. That's 100 total score. Remember, this element, the 10 and the 7, that's for me. Another teacher may break it down differently. All right, so don't go tell Miss Gilbert or Miss Sippis or whoever else you may have that Mr. Amato's counting Google Classroom assignments for 10, and his tests are only 7 out of that 17. They have the right to do whatever they want in that department. This is the rubric. You can pause this. I'm not going to go through each column. I'm not going to break it down as far as every single box goes. But the maximum amount of class participation points for the fourth quarter you can get is 18 points. And you see, it's all exemplary. You're doing what you need to do. You're staying on top of your work. You're communicating. You're asking questions. I'm going to be pretty flexible with this online engagement, especially when it comes to live streaming. So, but it's really the assignments, in my opinion, for participation. You're going to really need to be on top of your assignments and on time with your assignments. I may not be taking points off for your assignments if they're late by like a day or two or even a week at this point, but it could affect your class participation points. I may not take off points the assignment itself, but that's where it's going to really, um, affect you. So we have 18 points, 12 points, 6 points, and 0 points. That's it. There's no 15 points. There's no 10 points. Those are the columns. All right. And that's how we're going to do that. Live streaming. I'm sure you've heard about it by now. I'm sure some of your teachers have already maybe been requiring some sort of live element to your classes. We were told at the beginning of all this that we weren't going to have to go live. Obviously, things have changed. But the good news is you are not going to have to do this by any means if you do not want to. This is not mandatory. This is an extra tool. This is an extra resource. This is just something extra for the teachers, to be honest with you. All right. Uh, as you're going to see over the next couple of days, some teachers are going to be doing this during the day, but we have the flexibility on our own to make our own schedule outside of the 9 to 3 block that the school made a schedule for us. A lot of people, a lot of teachers have different circumstances. For me, having a child at home with my wife working, it's impossible for me to stick to the schedule that the school gave us. So I'm going to be going at night. You've probably noticed most of my material, most of my grading, most of everything comes at night because I have to wait till night to do all my work. All right. So this is my schedule. I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. Don't freak out. I'm going to go through it and tell you what the expectations are. Monday night, 7:45, all my U.S. history classes at once. I'm not going to do it section by section. I have 4 U.S. history classes. I'm not going to break it up. The sessions are not going to last long. They're about 20 minutes long. And if nobody comes, then I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave. It's not going to be live new instruction. Again, I'll go over that in the next slide. Tuesday is for my sociology class. I don't really anticipate many people coming and joining that just because so many people are worried about most of their mainstream subjects, but I'll be on if anybody has any questions. Wednesday is a makeup day. If you missed for U.S. history, if you missed on Monday, you can make an appointment and let me know you're going to join at 7:45. If one person says, "Hey, Mr. Amato, I missed Monday. I need to talk to you about something in relation to the curriculum," I'll make sure I'm on by 7:45. For sociology, it's at 8:15, and they're gonna last not long. It's only by appointment. If nobody says to me they're going to sign on Wednesday, I'm not going to sign on. It's just an extra day. Thursday and Friday will be my office hours. These are not live. They're similar to the office hours that I've been doing between 11 and 12 every day, but now they're going to be at 1:30 to 2:30. Again, I haven't really been hearing from many of you during the 11 to 12 o'clock range. Maybe I'll hear from more of you between 1:30 and 2:30 because you'll be up, but nonetheless, those are my office hours. So really, if you're in U.S. history, the only day that you're required, not I forget that word required, the only day that you can go on is Monday, and if you're in sociology, it's Tuesday. So not that bad if you want to do it. Here are the expectations, and this, bear with me for this because this is a slippery slope with this whole live streaming and expectations. We're trying to play catch up here as a district, and we're getting training, and we're learning this as we go. We saw what happened with those emails a few days back, and that was the debacle. So let's look through this bullet by bullet, and then if you have any questions, you can always message me on my Remind, or you can ask a question on the stream as long as it's appropriate. First and foremost, live sessions will not be new learning. I'm not going to give you anything new. I'm not going to teach you a lesson. All right, I'm going to save those for the YouTube videos that I've been doing. You can pause them, you can rewind them, you can replay them at your own pace if you want. Live sessions will be used for any questions you may have about our current topic or just to check in. If you want to say hi, you can say hi. I'm not going to have a full conversation with you because that's not what it's used for. But if you just want to say hey, just want to see how you're doing, and vice versa, totally fine. Okay. Live sessions are not mandatory. Let's look at that again. Live sessions are not mandatory. Am I going to take points off for you if you don't show up? No, absolutely not. 0 points will be deducted from your grade if you don't show up. They are not going to be a face-to-face. Okay, I will be on. You'll hear me just like you're hearing me now, but you won't see me. I don't want anybody screenshotting me or doing anything crazy in this day and age. All right. These sessions will be recorded. Not to say I don't trust you, but I don't trust some of you out there. And it's just the way the world is sometimes. Therefore, you'll be recorded. If you do not want to be recorded, then you don't have to join. Like I said, there is no points deducted. If there's really an issue you need to talk to me about, and you want to do a session quickly, if you want to stay like 5 minutes at the end of a session, um, that's fine. Or you can yourself can just black your screen out and you don't have to show your face. And that's probably the easiest thing to do is just join up and shut off your camera, and then you can ask questions in the chat or however you want. We can go question by question, student by student. Live sessions will be approximately 20 minutes in length. I will not be any longer than that if it's not needed. If for some reason there's a real topic of struggle, of course I'll stay on a little bit longer. You do not need to stay the whole time. You can pop in, you can say, hey, I have a question. Okay, I'm done. Fine. If no students show up within the first 5 minutes of a session, meaning it's 7:45, I stay on, it's 7:50, and nobody shows up, I'm closing it out, I'm resetting the link, and that's it. The session's done. You can join the next time or do the makeup day or whatever. If you're not comfortable, like I said, with being recorded, just you don't need to attend, or I'll make an accommodation and stop the recording 5 minutes toward the end or whatever. The most important thing here is your behavior. You need to act appropriately. There's no sense in you coming in and acting like a knucklehead. I don't think you would anyway, but if you were to, disciplinary action can occur. It's not like you can be suspended right now because you're already home, but do be aware that any discipline can carry over into the next school year. And whenever we're back in school, hopefully it's this year. It's increasingly looking less likely that we're going to be going back this year. But nonetheless, if you were to do something, that's a suspendable offense, you could be suspended. Just be aware of that. Good news for some of you, the 5 of you who are probably going to watch this, is that there are no finals whatsoever. No finals whatsoever. No regions, no like old regions that you have to take, no in-class final. So that's the good news. Your grades is going to be based on the 4 quarters. The downside of it is going to be the fact that we have to go to the last day of school. That last day of school is June 26th. That is, of course, if we're not back in school. Again, that's all circumstantial. Right now, it's May 15th, but please be aware that it's been being pushed back, and it's probably going to be pushed back again. Thoughts? Take pride in what you do. It's very easy to look at this grading policy and think that, oh, wow, I can really put my feet up. I got, 85s and 90s the first, second, and third quarter. Who cares if I get a 70 this quarter? There's no regions to, I'm still going to get a really good grade. Yeah, you know what? That's all true. I'm not going to lie to you. But the one thing that I will say is that your brain is a muscle. You will be back in school at some point, and it's going to be that much harder for you to get back into the groove of things if you don't take pride in what you do. We all have a little extra time. For us teachers, we're actually working pretty hard right now with this whole shift to online learning. I'm sure you all have individual circumstances at home that may make it hard for you to do your work. That's why this grading policy is in effect. But nonetheless, take pride in what you do when you do it. When we come back to school, hopefully it's this year, hopefully it's September, whenever you go back, especially those of you who are juniors, if this is my sociology class, there may be some 10th graders in there. Your senior year is going to mean a lot to you. It's going to mean so much more. Think about those seniors this year that lost basically a majority of everything that they were looking forward to. Hopefully there can be a prom, but who knows? Graduation is going to happen, but how is it going to happen? Seeing your friends, signing yearbooks, all those things that are in question now, you'll have that. I'm confident you'll have that. That's why you should really be working extra hard to enter that senior year and be in a good spot. Practice good habits. That's outside of doing your work. Make sure you're not going to sleep at 4 a.m. You're not waking up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Try to get yourself into a cycle because it's going to be that much harder for you when we come back to break that. It's going to be shaking the cobwebs, as I like to say sometimes. It's going to be a lot of that. So practice good habits. Try to set yourself self up, for success. Don't be afraid to say you need help. Whether it's in class or for something else. Speaking up is the only advocate you have for you right now is you yourself. And be active and resist complacency. It's easy to get stuck into a routine during these times. Try to make your weekends different than the weekdays. That's what I try to do at home. Try to, when it's nice out, try to go out for a walk, do something to just break the cycle of what's been going on. But being active is important. I'm not saying to go out there and run a marathon every day, but go for a 10, 15, 20-minute walk. Enjoy, just enjoy Mother Nature, and it'll really help you out. All right. If you have any questions, you can post it on the stream or message me and remind. And that's basically it. Hopefully, you watch this. If you ask me questions about this other than what I've said, that's fine. But if you ask me questions about what's in this presentation, and I keep getting the same questions about what's in this presentation, I'm going to start getting a little annoyed. So please just take the time to read this and listen to this because I'm really trying to explain it the best I can, and hopefully this will help you for your other classes as well. All right, so that's all I have for tonight, and I'll talk to you soon.